Top 10 stones you never knew were worth millions. Some of the world's most valuable gemstones don't sparkle. They don't sit atop royal crowns or glitter beneath gala lights. They hide in volcanic ash, forgotten quarries, and dusty museum drawers labeled with the wrong names. For decades, they've existed at the edges of geology and memory, too rare to market, too strange to classify, too beautiful to ignore. But when they surface, even briefly, they challenge everything we thought we knew about value, rarity, and the forces shaping this planet. This is not a story about diamonds or emeralds. It's not about fame or fashion. This is a descent into the unknown corners of the earth, into the shadows where the rarest stones live. Stones that change color, stones that change science. Stones are so scarce and misunderstood that most of the world doesn't even know they exist until now. Don't forget to press and hold that like button, leave a comment, and hit subscribe before we begin. Ranked 10th, Jeremejevite, the sky that Earth forgot. Some stones shout their presence, others vanish in plain sight. Jeremejevite belongs to the second kind, a pale blue whisper inside the Earth's most profound silences. Its surface doesn't gleam, and its name doesn't sing. And unless you already know what you're looking at, you won't see it at all. 1883, near the frozen edge of Lake Baikal in Siberia, a Russian scientist named Pavel Jeremejev was sorting through quartz specimens when a ghost appeared. Trapped inside the rock was a shard of sky, translucent, impossibly soft in color, and unlike anything he'd recorded before. He didn't know what it was. No one did, so they named it after him. And then, it vanished. For decades, Jeremejevite was mentioned, but not found in papers and field notes. It didn't appear in jewelry cases or royal vaults, and not a single gem reached the hands of collectors. To many, it became a rumor, a theory, a name attached to a sliver of crystal no one could trace. But deep beneath the gravel plains of Namibia, something stirred. Miners in the Orongo Mountains unearthed a crystal that didn't behave like the others. It didn't reflect. It didn't scatter light. It simply allowed it to pass through, unbent, untouched, as if the light had been waiting for a way out. Jeremejevite had returned, and this time, it was flawless. This gem doesn't blaze like fire opal or dance like a diamond. It forms quietly inside aluminum-rich pegmatites under conditions so rare they hardly repeat. Where other crystals push outward with energy, Jeremejevite condenses in silence. It is a gemstone born of restraint, and that's what makes it nearly impossible to find. Its optical signature is just as elusive. With a low refractive index, Jeremejevite doesn't sparkle. It slips through light like a wisp of air. Hold it to your eye and you'll see something strange. Not brilliance, but breath, as though you're staring into an echo of the atmosphere itself. And then, there's the rarity. There are fewer than 100 confirmed gem-quality Jeremejevites. Most are under a carat. A transparent specimen over 5 carats enters a realm beyond jewelry, the realm of auction rooms and private vaults. One piece has sold for over $2,000 per carat, eclipses many emeralds and rival sapphires. But this stone doesn't trade on status. It doesn't need to. Its power lies elsewhere. Jeremejevite is one of the few gemstones whose value isn't in its fame, but in its absence, its invisibility. It refuses to play by the rules of beauty and prestige. It remains unbranded and uncelebrated, and collectors treasure it most. This one asks for nothing among all the stones ever pulled from the Earth's crust. No spotlight, no praise. Just a moment of stillness, and the eyes to notice what's always been missing. Call it rare. Call it spectral. Call it a miracle of pressure and time. But for those who have seen it, really seen it, one name will always follow: Jeremejevite, and with it, the quiet power of something almost forgotten, and now worth more than gold. Ranked 9th, Grandidierite, the gem that changed with the light. Every few decades, a stone surfaces that doesn't seem to follow the rules. Its color can't be captured in a single name. Its origin is remote. Its beauty feels like an afterthought of something larger, like a wave, a wind, or a moment that refused to vanish completely. Grandidierite is such a stone. Discovered in 1902 along the southern coast of Madagascar, it emerged from the metamorphic rock as a geological puzzle, translucent, blue-green, and layered like mineral breath. At first, scientists didn't know what to call it. Too dense to be aquamarine, too clear to be tourmaline. Only later, under the precision of a gem cutter's blade, did its identity reveal itself, a stone with depth, movement, and soul. Its namesake, French naturalist Alfred Grandidierite, had charted the landscapes of Madagascar for decades, but even he couldn't have imagined that his name would be forever tied not to a discovery in life, but to one buried in silence for centuries. Grandidierite's color isn't fixed. It's never just green or just blue. It shifts, leans, and hesitates. The scientific term is pleochroism, where light enters, scatters, and exits in different shades depending on the angle. From one side, it resembles sea foam at dusk. From another, glacial mist. Then, without warning, it darkens into something more profound, a storm behind glass. This is not a common optical trick. Few minerals carry this complexity, and even fewer survive the cutting process intact. Grandidierite forms in boron-rich pegmatites, requiring precise thermal pressure and magnesium-rich environments to stabilize. Outside of Madagascar, only trace deposits have been found, in Norway, Sri Lanka, and Antarctica, but none compare in quality or clarity. For most of the 20th century, Grandidierite was seen only in mineral collections. Beautiful, yes, but rarely wearable. Then in 2003, a 4.37-carat gem-grade specimen appeared at auction. It was nearly flawless, cut to perfection. It fetched a price in the tens of thousands. Overnight, a mineral became a myth. Since then, the chase has intensified. Most Grandidierite crystals are cloudy, cracked, or opaque. Cuttable specimens are virtually non-existent. When a clear one does appear, it's immediately acquired, usually by private buyers, and rarely seen again. Some dealers estimate fewer than 30 investment-grade stones exist globally, and those that do are locked away, not in display cases, but in safes, portfolios, and legacy collections. Grandidierite doesn't aim for spectacle. It wasn't born to be bright. Its power lies in variation, how it bends the rules of color, form, and identity. Each stone tells a slightly different story. Each carries a version of the sea that never settles. This is not a gemstone of kings or ceremonies. It belongs to the rare few who understand that true beauty is not fixed, and that rarity isn't about appearance but presence. The kind of presence that changes every time you look at it. Among the most expensive per carat stones ever sold, Grandidierite remains a paradox. Vivid but soft, precious but quiet, ancient but ever-changing. It is light in motion, pressure in harmony, it's in color, learning how to breathe. Ranked 8th, Poudretteite, the secret hidden in the waste. They called it rubble, quarry dust, a byproduct of blasting and heavy machines. But lodged in one of those heaps, a place meant for landfill, was a glint of pink that didn't belong. That's where Poudretteite waited. Born from the granite veins of Mont Saint-Hilaire, Quebec, this pale gemstone first appeared in the 1960s. The Poudretteite family, who operated the quarry, never imagined the leftover fragments from their mineral operations would yield anything beyond feldspar and mica. The gem that would later carry their name arrived quietly. Soft-edged, almost translucent, barely noticeable among the debris. At first it was dismissed as too brittle and too cloudy, a mineral for microscopes, not for markets. For decades, Poudretteite existed in the background of geology, cataloged in academic journals, rarely faceted and never worn. Its hexagonal and delicate structure broke too easily under pressure. Its pastel tone, somewhere between rosewater and lilac, felt too shy for display cases. Collectors knew of it. Jewelers didn't. And then a shift came from the ground where legends are born. In Myanmar's Mogok Valley, a region famed for birthing rubies so vivid they seem lit from within, miners uncovered a Poudretteite unlike any other. It wasn't pale, it wasn't weak, it was luminous, eye-clean, and impossibly large. over 9 carats. It was a stone of museum caliber, a miracle of clarity. The gemstone world responded in quiet astonishment. Lab reports confirmed the impossible. Jewelers whispered, auctions prepared. And in backroom deals, private collectors placed silent bids that ran into the tens of thousands. Not for what it looked like, but for what it represented, a mineral no one had expected, commanding a price few thought possible. Today, gem-grade Poudretteite remains one of the rarest cuttable stones on Earth. Most examples are under a carat and are rarely free of internal fractures. Yet even the smallest stones, when pure, are valued at several $1,000s per carat. And those rare few that exceed 2 carats, they disappear as quickly as they surface, often into vaults where they are named, insured, and never shown again. What sets Poudretteite apart isn't just scarcity, it's contrast between fragility and endurance, between science and surprise, between something thrown away and something suddenly priceless. This isn't a gemstone born for spectacle. It was never displayed in royal crowns, no monarch ever wore it, and no legend wrapped around its name. And yet, here it is. It's rarer than emerald. It's more elusive than tanzanite, worth more, carat for carat, than many stones 3 times its fame. Poudretteite reminds us that not every treasure is born in glory. Some are found in the places we never thought to look, and when we finally see them, we understand. Value was never about visibility. It was always about discovery. Ranked 7. Musgravite, the stone that slipped through time. They thought it was Taaffeite, another rare stone, already elusive in its own right. But the crystal didn't behave as expected. Its internal geometry whispered of a different structure. Slightly harder, slightly denser, slightly stranger. And just like that, Musgravite stepped out of anonymity. The name came from where it first emerged. The Musgrave Ranges in central Australia in 1967. A geological expedition uncovered a few slivers of lavender-gray crystal embedded in ancient metamorphic rock. The samples were catalogued, tested, and set aside. There was no reason to think they would matter. Until decades later, a gemstone broker in Sri Lanka noticed something odd in a parcel of Taaffeites. One of the stones, just one, refracted light in a way none of the others did. Laboratories re-examined it. The conclusion was unanimous. This was Musgravite, reborn not in the deserts of Australia, but in the gravels of Ratnapura. Since that moment, the stone has moved from curiosity to legend. Gemological institutions confirmed its chemical distinction. It is a member of the beryllium oxide family, sharing traits with Taaffeite, but possessing a unique crystal lattice that forms only under intense pressure, rare element combinations, and conditions Earth itself barely repeats. Its color is a shifting storm between violet, gray, olive, and slate, a hue without commitment, a stone without comfort. Few stones defy classification like Musgravite. Fewer still defy collection. As of today, fewer than 20 gem-quality Musgravites are known to exist. Total. Most are under 2 carats. A flawless specimen above 5 carats would be nearly priceless. One sold at a private auction for a figure rumored to exceed $35,000 per carat, a price higher than most rubies, onyxes, or even some sapphires. But numbers only tell part of the story. Musgravite is unnerving to gem cutters. Its molecular tension resists clean shaping. Facetting requires both precision and nerve. One mistake, and the stone fractures internally. A quiet ruin that can't be undone. Only a few lapidaries in the world dare to handle it. That danger has only increased its mystique. Unlike diamonds, Musgravite isn't bought for weddings or investments. It's bought for silence. The knowledge that one holds something nearly impossible. Museums rarely display them, and private owners often keep them unnamed, insured, and sealed. Musgravite doesn't exist to sparkle. It exists to be found, and then quietly vanishes again. It is the purest expression of rarity on Earth, a gemstone without legend, lineage, or ceremony. It is just a timeline, fractured, uncertain, and filled with gaps that even science still struggles to explain. There are stones born from fire and stones born from myth, but Musgravite was born from a mistake, a misidentification that revealed something rarer than anyone expected. A gem lost in plain sight. now worth more than some people's homes. Ranked 6, Taaffeite, the stone, that outsmarted science. It was supposed to be spinel, a dusty pink gem tucked in a box of low-value stones in 1945 Dublin. Unassuming, modest, the kind of thing most jewelers would never second-guess. But Richard Taaffeite did. Something in the way the crystal bent, the light felt off. So he had it tested. The results rewrote the mineral books. The gem wasn't spinel at all. It belonged to a completely unknown mineral species. Something never before documented, never cut, never worn. A new stone, discovered not in a cave or quarry, but in a second-hand jewelry shop. They named it Taaffeite, in honor of the man who spotted the mistake. No gem in modern history has entered the scientific record in such an unconventional way. Taaffeite wasn't mined, excavated, or mined. It was found after it had been polished, sold, and nearly forgotten. A gemstone that reversed the natural order of discovery. For decades, geologists searched for its source, with little success. Only in the late 20th century did traces begin to surface, deep within Sri Lanka's gravel fields and, later, in the Mogok region of Myanmar. Even then, the crystals were rare, scattered, and frustratingly difficult to identify in the rough. Taaffeite shares many optical properties with spinel, its imposter sibling, making most of its kind go unnoticed, even today. But when one is found, it doesn't go unnoticed for long. The finest Taaffeite stones shimmer with lavender, mauve, and soft gray-violet tones. They carry a glow that feels like twilight trapped inside the crystal. The best specimens, clean, transparent, and over 5 carats, are considered investment-grade rarities, with recorded prices reaching up to $35,000 per carat. Still, most people have never heard its name. It doesn't appear in textbooks. It's not taught in geology classes. And yet, Taaffeite is exponentially rarer than sapphire, emerald, or even ruby. Some estimates suggest it's up to 1 million times scarcer than diamond, especially in faceable quality. And that's the paradox. A rare gem was once mistaken for something familiar. A stone whose first appearance wasn't in the hands of miners, but in a misidentified jewelry box. Cutting Taaffeite is a challenge. Its hexagonal crystal structure is fragile in places, demanding precision and nerve from any lapidary. Even minor flaws can ruin a facet. But when done right, the result is ethereal, a color that shifts with light, never static, never dull. Taaffeite has no royal history, no ancient myths, no crown jewels, but it has something few gems can claim: the power to trick science and the humility to do it quietly. It sat beside ordinary stones for years, unrecognized, uncelebrated. And when the truth came out, it didn't demand fame. It simply waited until someone was curious enough to question it. Among all the stones ever misjudged, Taaffeite may be the most valuable, not just in dollars, though its price proves that, but it teaches us that rarity often wears the mask of the familiar. And value? Sometimes it's hiding in plain sight, waiting to be seen. Ranked 5, Serendibite, the shadow that devours light. Some gemstones reflect the sun, others seem to carry fire within them, but then some swallow light entirely, pulling it inward, holding it captive, leaving only shadow behind. That's where Serendibite lives. This jet-black enigma was first discovered in 1902 in the remote highlands of Sri Lanka. At the time, no one could quite place it. The stone was dark, nearly opaque, with a dense, velvety surface that offered nothing to the eye. Under normal light, it vanished into itself. It revealed its true complexity only under intense magnification, a tangled structure of calcium, aluminum, boron, magnesium, and silicate, all fused under enormous geological pressure. For decades, Serendibite remained a mineralogical footnote. It had no known sources and no gem-quality cuts. It was simply too rare and misunderstood to enter the gemstone world. Then something changed. In the early 2000s, miners struck something unexpected deep within the labyrinthine mines of Mogok, Myanmar, the same valley that birthed some of history's finest rubies. A small pocket of Serendibite. But this time, it wasn't dull. It wasn't rough, it was clear enough, structured enough to cut. The first faceted Serendibites stunned the gemological community. They were midnight black with subtle undertones, blue-green flashes under halogen and deep violet in twilight. The stones were so dark they seemed bottomless. The kind of darkness that didn't just absorb light, it commanded it. And the price? Faceted Serendibite has fetched over $2 million per carat at auction, placing it among the most expensive materials ever extracted from the earth. Not just rare, but statistically unattainable. Fewer than a handful of gem-quality stones exist above 1 carat. Most are in museums. The rest are sealed in private collections, where they're only shown to those who know what to ask for. But even with such value, Serendibite remains largely unknown to the public. It doesn't sparkle in engagement rings, flaunt at galas, or walk the red carpet. Its allure isn't visual, it's gravitational, how it draws in curiosity and refuses to explain itself. This is a stone that doesn't decorate, it intimidates. Cutting Serendibite is an art of restraint. Too much heat and it fractures. Too much pressure and it crumbles. The stone demands respect from the earth, the hands that free it, and the eyes that dare to stare into it. There are gems made to impress, there are gems made to seduce, and then there is Serendibite, forged in darkness, priced in millions, and seen by almost no one. Its name comes from Serendib, the old Arabic word for Sri Lanka, a land of mythical richness, a name that, fittingly, gave us the word serendipity, a discovery made not by pursuit, but by chance. And yet, nothing about Serendibite feels accidental. It is deliberate, quiet, absolute, a stone with no light and no equal. Ranked 4, Black Opal, the fire that lives in darkness. Beneath the scorched red soils of Lightning Ridge, Australia, the earth hides something ancient. Not a gem, but a phenomenon. Unlike any other opal on Earth, this stone doesn't shimmer on the surface. It erupts from within, a volcanic storm of color trapped inside pitch darkness, a universe behind glass. When turned beneath a light, it flares into motion, flashes of scarlet, indigo, emerald, and gold. Entire auroras condensed into a single piece of matter. What sets black opal apart isn't just its beauty, it's the contrast. The deepest black body tone gives its colors more power, saturation, and violence. Each stone is a fire waiting for movement, and each angle is a detonation. The indigenous people of Australia believe black opal was a sky serpent's footprint. Where it touched the earth, color followed. Scientists, centuries later, discovered the optical cause. A perfect alignment of silica spheres, spaced with nanoscopic precision, diffracting light like a prism inside obsidian. But science never quite explains what it feels like to hold one. The gem market recognizes this power. Fine black opals, full spectrum play of color, deep body tone, and high clarity have sold for over $25,000 per carat. In 2008, a 306-carat specimen named the Virgin Rainbow was valued in the millions. Others remain unlisted, exchanged privately, quietly, away from auctions, collected like art and guarded like secrets. Lightning Ridge remains the only consistent source of authentic black opal. Even there, production is erratic. Some mines yield nothing for years. Others collapse under the weight of the earth before reaching a single vein, a harvest of luck measured in ounces, not tons. Cutting the stone is an act of intuition. Too much, and the fire fades. Too little, and the darkness swallows the light whole. A skilled lapidary must read the color bar, guess where the flame lies, and carve toward it like a sculptor chasing lightning. No two black opals are alike. Some burn with veins of neon, others ripple like cosmic storms. Many carry red in the rarest, most sought-after hue, flickering across blue-green oceans of silica. These stones don't whisper, they roar. And yet, for all their brilliance, black opals remain strangely uncelebrated outside the gem world. Their name carries no royal legacy. Their fame has no gemstone lobby. But within collector circles, they stand among the most prized organic gems on the planet. Rarer than diamond, more volatile than sapphire, more emotional than emerald. They are forged not by time alone, but by geological coincidence. Silica, heat, water, pressure, a vanishing equilibrium. And when it happens, once every few million years, the result is something that glows from beneath its own shadow. Black opal doesn't mimic fire, it remembers it. Ranked 3, red beryl, the flame too rare to replace. In the deserts of Utah, where the dust turns red and the air hangs still, a rare stone doesn't compete with emeralds or sapphires. It ignores them. Born from the heart of ancient volcanic rhyolite, this gemstone contradicts elements. It carries the same crystal structure as emerald, but its color is entirely different. A hue glaring like coal embers just before collapse, deep crimson, electric raspberry, the pulse of something wild held still. Red beryl forms only under a near impossible set of geological conditions: low pressure, high temperature, and the presence of beryllium and manganese at precisely the right concentration. Miss the formula by a margin, and the earth produces nothing. Or worse, something ordinary. That's why there is only one trustworthy source, the Wah Wah Mountains of Utah. All attempts to mine it elsewhere have failed or yielded crystals too small to cut. Even at the Wah Wah site, most of what emerges is unfit for jewelry, clouded, fractured, or no bigger than a grain of rice. But every so often one survives. It's a perfect crystal, faceable, clean, and that's when the price no longer matters. Red beryl is estimated to be up to 8,000 times rarer than diamond. A single carat can fetch over $20,000, with larger, unflawed pieces drawing exponentially more. Collectors speak of them in hushed tones. Jewelers see them once, maybe twice, in a lifetime. Museums display them like relics. Private owners insure them like assets. This is not a stone that waits in display cases. It disappears the moment it arrives. No two red beryls are the same. Some lean purple, some flame orange. All carry an intensity, not just of color, but of origin. They were not gently formed over time. They were forged violently, between gas and fire, pressure and release. Their crystal lattice is like a wound that healed into beauty. Lapidaries approach it with reverence. One wrong cut, and the fire dies. 1,000 tiny fractures can hide inside a single glowing surface. And yet, when the cut is proper, the gem radiates in a way few others can. It doesn't shimmer, it flares. To the untrained eye, it looks like a red emerald. To those who know, it looks like a miracle. Some gems speak softly. Red beryl doesn't. It interrupts. It intrudes. It demands presence, and then it vanishes again. Into vaults, collections, and the hands of those who understand what it means to own something the earth no longer bothers to make. Ranked 2, blue garnet, the stone that changes its mind. It looks blue, then red, then something between. Blue garnet doesn't settle. It shifts in hue, in value, in identity. No other garnet in the world behaves this way. No other gemstone changes its entire personality based on the light that touches it. First discovered in the late 1990s in Beryl, southern Madagascar, blue garnet startled mineralogists. It was not because it was garnet, but because it defied the rules of what it was supposed to be. The gem radiates a cool teal to blue by daylight, almost like a lagoon under an overcast sky. But under incandescent or candlelight, the entire tone flips into vibrant purplish red, as if the gem had decided to burn instead of glow. The phenomenon is called color change, but it's more than just a physics trick in blue garnet. It's a performance, caused by a rare combination of vanadium and chromium in its crystal structure. This transformation is so vivid and complete that some have mistaken it for two entirely different stones. But there's only one. And that's the problem. Gem-quality blue garnet is among the rarest color change stones ever recorded. While small samples have been found in Sri Lanka, Tanzania, and even the US, only Madagascar has produced stones of notable size and transparency. And even then, rarely more than once in a generation. Most are under half a carat. The few exceeding 1 carat enter a category with no official name, because so few people have ever seen one. In 2003, a faceted blue garnet over 4 carats was quietly sold to a private collector. The price was never disclosed, but estimates suggest over $1.5 million for a single gem. And just like that, it vanished. Blue garnet doesn't show up at auctions or get featured in jewelry campaigns. Its entire market moves in shadow between scientists, dealers, and those who know that rarity isn't measured in carats, but in impossibility. Cutting one is a high-stakes game. The orientation of the stone affects how color change behaves. Slice it wrong, and the shift dims. Slice it right, and the gem becomes a prism of contradiction, both warm and cold, day and night. To own a blue garnet is to own a choice, not between colors, but between realities. It does not reflect who you are. It reflects what surrounds you. This isn't a stone for display. It's a stone that reacts to heat, light, and the world. And in doing so, it remains one of the most valuable enigmas ever pulled from the earth. A chameleon trapped in crystal. A paradox with a price tag. A question was asked in blue and answered in red. In first place, Painite, the ghost that ruled the record books. It held the title no other stone could. For years, Painite was officially listed in the Guinness Book of World Records as the rarest gemstone on Earth. And for a time, a real time, only one faceted crystal was known to exist. Not one mine, not one vein, one stone. British gemologist Arthur C.D. Payne discovered the original sample during a routine mineral survey in Myanmar in the 1950s. The sample was misclassified for years and no one, not even Payne, realized what had been found. It took decades, lab reevaluations, and a new generation of crystallographers to recognize that this was entirely new. A mineral with a complex structure is a precise formation process that nature rarely bothered to repeat. When it did, the result was Painite. To this day, Painite remains an anomaly. A borate of calcium, zirconium, and aluminum, infused with trace elements of iron, chromium, and vanadium, forms under conditions geologists still can't fully replicate or explain. Each known crystal is a survivor of near-impossible chemistry, and there are so few of them. Even after discoveries in Mogok, only a few hundred crystals exist worldwide, most under 2 carats, most held in museum drawers or scientific collections. The number of true gem-quality faceted painites remains fewer than 30, and their price. Painite was considered unbuyable for years, not due to greed, but absence. No market existed for a stone no one could find. However, in rare instances where a clean, faceted specimen changes hands, the figures reach up to $60,000 per carat, if not more. But numbers don't explain it. Painite isn't a stone you wear. It's not one you display. It's one you chase. Dealers speak of it with reverence. Museums treat it like a relic. Geologists still debate how the earth produced it. Not once, but just enough to tease the possibility. Under the light, Painite doesn't sparkle. It glows, deep reddish brown, tinged with burnt orange, as though the heat had cooled into the crystal. There's a gravity to its color, a weight that feels geologically old, undeniable. The cutting process is treacherous. Painite's atomic structure can fracture under pressure. Lapidaries who work with it describe the sensation not as carving, but as negotiating, finding the angle where the crystal agrees to reveal itself. To hold a painite is to have a geological secret, not just in mineral form, but in silence. Because for decades, the world didn't know it existed. And even now, most still don't. None of the gemstones ever born beneath the Earth's crust carry this combination of mystery, science, and absolute scarcity. Painite isn't the most beautiful, it isn't the most famous, but it is, without question, the most elusive. And that, above all else, is what makes it priceless. Some stones were never meant to be famous. They weren't born to shine in storefront windows or be set in royal crowns. They were shaped by silence, formed under rare pressures, hidden in forgotten landscapes, and valued not for spectacle, but for the mystery they carry. These 10 gems hold a secret, not just in chemistry or color, but in how they challenge everything we think we know about beauty and rarity. Because sometimes the most valuable things are the ones almost no one ever sees. This journey was worth it if even one of these stones made you pause and feel wonder, curiosity, or awe. There are more waiting, buried in shadow, sleeping in stone. And if you want to keep digging, you know where to find us. Tell us, which one would you chase if the earth offered it to you?